The Spiritual Tournament of Power Parable 2. The Spiritual Tournament of Power Parable. I have information here. I'm going to read this to you again, or I want to explain this to you again. It's a rather important parable to some degree, but there was a lot of details I missed from the previous time I explained this to you, so I'm going to explain them to you now, and I'm going to incorporate them all into this one explanation here within about 29 minutes or less. So, this entire parable, again, it's going to be based off of and or inspired by the anime cartoon known as Dragon Ball Super. It's going to be inspired by that anime cartoon. It's a lame parable, it's a nerd parable, but it's going to involve the erasure of your fake universes. It's going to involve, ultimately, the erasure of your fake universes. You'll get what that means later. If you want to listen, you don't have to. Like I said, every word that I put on this here internet, program, website, post, anywhere on X or Twitter, if I post on Facebook, if I post on your Instagram or your TikToks, anything that I say, while these people are obligated to spy on all of us forever. People, though. People with minds. Any word that I say and that these people are obligated to see rips their evil, disgusting minds apart. How so? When I explain this parable to you, you'll get it. But just to quickly summarize it, because the fully melanated people of the world, they are the only style of creature that can accept righteousness as a way to live. Those of the oppressive body, like the people who are obligated to watch me and listen to me and hear all the things that I have to say, they are bound to evil and insanity. So any word that I say attacks their minds, eliminates their mindsets. I'm never going to stop attacking them metaphysically. What you all do physically is on you. But this is what I'm going to do to them. Metaphysical damage. Non-stop. Ever stopping. Never. Here's the thing, man. They ain't gonna never stop putting their lies into this world. So why should I never stop putting this truth into this world? I'm never going to stop putting the truth into this world because they're never going to stop putting their lies into this world. And they're doing it through fantasies and things that they make up. So I'm just going to use some fantasies and things that they made up to tell it even more. Here, the Spiritual Tournament of Power Parable. Now, the Dragon Ball Super Tournament of Power, it involved a massive battle royale where teams of 10 fighters from 8 of the 12 universes compete for survival. There are 12 universes in Dragon Ball Super. It was 13 at one point, if I remember correctly, watching the anime growing up, or just recently in the early 2020s decade. A massive battle royale where teams of 10 fighters from 8 of the 12 universes compete for survival, as the losing universes are erased from existence. Erased from existence, the losing universes will be, by the Omni Kings. Omni Kings, plural, like there's more than one king here. Xeno and future Xeno. Xeno. The Omni King in Dragon Ball is Xeno. Meaning, like, in Dragon Ball right now, currently, this here Xeno character is like the top, highest power there is for any of them to turn to or go to or see, period. He's the highest of the highest, right? So, I'm going to base this entire philosophy on this here tournament of survival. And then I'm going to also base who you are going to accept. That once you accept who I'm getting ready to tell you, you're getting ready to accept, the fake universe goes bye-bye. Gets erased, right? What am I getting ready to tell you to accept? Omni-knowledge. The omni-knowledge truth. Omni-knowledge. In my parable, for my parable to work here, I'm going to have what I classify and or what I would like to label and describe as omni-knowledge. It's actually known in this world. Omni-knowledge is known. What is omni-knowledge? Knowledge that is present and everywhere at all times. Did you know every country has a history? Did you know every person in the world has a history? If there are still 8 billion people on the planet that the oppressive people didn't take out to have some fun with for their kicks and giggles. Did you know that each one of these people who were killed has a history? How they got killed? Knowledge is everywhere. Truth is everywhere. Intellectual things and/or the soul's essence, its intellectual energy or intensity is everywhere. The soul is universal. The energy of God is universal. God is omnipresent knowledge. Moving along. The true God is, should I say. The true God is the omnipresent knowledge of the universe. Universal omnipresent knowledge, whatever you want to call it. Meaning, and don't forget, knowledge is something you validate from the external world. Things you see from outside. How it's stored up and or how it's put or how it's placed is that of this hollow, invisible essence. But you, as the incredible, extraordinary individual that you are, you can register these things and use this here power to comprehend it. Use words like comprehend to comprehend it. Right? Moving along. So here's how my tournament is going to be set up, right? Instead of me having 8 universes, I'm only going to have 2 in my tournament. And instead of having 10 fighters from each of the 8 universes, I'm only going to have 7, possibly 11, possibly. But as I explain it to you, we'll see. But mine is going to be a rather smaller tournament. It's going to be a lot less than this here massive tournament of power, because let's not forget it's in real life, and I really want to move forward to the next topic to tell you all. So, here's how it's going to be set up. This here nerd picture right here I got for you. Let me show you this here nerd picture. You see this here nerd picture? These are the great fathers that I have classified as a couple of my Super Jesus games. Like Vegeta is the great father of the Super Jesus game. I'll tell you why in a second. And Perfect Cell is going to be the anime made-up character of great father for Free Yeshua. Vegeta. Prince Vegeta. Prince. Principality. Principal. Prince Vegeta is going to be the leader of, or like the god of destruction kind of archetype. Because, you know, in the anime show, they had a god of destruction who was in the bench, who was leading the specific universe in which he was leading. Great Father, Prince Vegeta, or Principal Vegeta, or Principality Vegeta, is going to represent Universe 1's leader. And he's going to have 7 fighters on his team. And then in the second universe, Universe 2, Perfect Cell will represent the Great Father, perfect cellular structure, perfect cellular structure. I don't use any name or anything or say any portion of a word for no reason. Never. The perfect cellular structure is going to be Universe 2's so-called God of Destruction or leader for this here parable to work. And you're going to see why in a second. The physical perfect cellular, the physical perfect cell, who needs to have all of these false things erased from its existence or from its presence, right? Next, here's how it's going to be set up. Universe 1, the one that Prince Vegeta or Principal Vegeta is going to be in charge of or blended with and or fused with and or one with and or just the principality of, right? It's going to be the natural universe thereof. Universe 1 is the natural universe, or the good one, or the Heart of Hearts universe, right? That's the one that Principal Vegeta is in charge of. Prince Vegeta, Principality Heart of Hearts, right? So you could just say Principality Heart of Hearts is in charge of the first universe here. Principality Heart of Hearts, or Principal Heart of Hearts, is the leader of the first universe here. You don't have to use Vegeta, because I don't even really want to do it. But for the sake of it being a proper nerd parable, I'm just going to use it. But at any rate, Principal Heart of Hearts, or Principal Vegeta, is the leader of Universe 1. And its parable combatants are parable combatants. Don't forget what a parable is. A parable is a short and or simple story used to label and describe a moral and or spiritual upliftance. That's what I consider a parable to be. Moving forward, here. First, the universal good energy. Universal good energy. What's good energy universally? What's good universal energy? Do you know what a good universal energy is? The good universal energy is representing the root chakra as the first combatant on the natural universe's team. The second one, God's universal behavior. God's universal behavior, or universally God's behavior, or God's behavior universally. However you want to say it. However you want to say it. God's universal behavior, representing the sacral chakra. Third combatant, what's right universally, or universally what's right. What's universally right? However you want to put it. That's the third combatant. I'm going to explain more to you in a moment. And then the fourth combatant for the natural universe, defending the home team that I'm on right now, because I'm on the natural side as well. Well, obligated to be, because I was born into it. I didn't necessarily ask to be on the natural side. I just kind of, the natural universe is the reason why I am able to live. You see? I'm not alive because the fake universe is telling me to be so. I'm alive because the natural universe is what it is. That's the only thing I will is what it is towards. Everything else is what it is till it ain't got to be what it is no more. But the natural universe is the one thing in reality I can only is what it is towards, because it just is what it is. It's just a life-giving force. Soul is life-giving energy. Spirit is life-giving energy. They're one and the same thing, and they're doing one and the same thing. They just got a bunch of more explanations tied to them. All their little marvelous details manifesting through our DNA. Moving along. The fourth one, universal knowledge, representing the heart chakra, or knowledge universally. What's knowledge universally, or what's universal knowledge? The omni knowledge. That's universal knowledge. You see? And then the sixth one, the universal principle Aten-Ra, representing the third eye chakra. The fifth one, I missed one. The fifth one is universal righteousness, representing the vocal chakra. The sixth one is the universal principle Aten-Ra, representing the third eye chakra. And the seventh one is the natural universal principles, representing the crown chakra. I explained all this in a previous video. Got to do it again for this one, though. It's going to make more sense. You'll see why with all the extra stuff I added to it. And now, but real quick, before I go on, I want to read my home team universe's combatants one more time. 1. The good universal energy. 2. God's universal behavior. 3. What's right universally. 4. Knowledge universally, or universal knowledge, or omni knowledge. 5. Universal righteousness, or righteousness universally. 6. The universal principle Aten-Ra. And number 7. The natural universal principles. All representing each of the 7 chakras, if you notice how I lined it up and said it. Righteousness eliminates evil, and knowledge eliminates insanity. Righteousness eliminates evil, and knowledge eliminates insanity. Our soul, and/or our true God, is the omni-knowledge itself, and/or the abilities to harness it and use it. That omni-knowledge eliminates the fake world's insanity. Our God, the natural God, the true soul God, or the Father which art in heaven, this here God I speak of, gave us our original standard of righteousness a long time ago. This world wants you to operate completely opposite of this here righteous standard in many, 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 many ways. But once you step back onto it and start operating from it again, it will no longer be able to have you go in the wrong direction. Meaning, you've erased the fake universe, essentially, through just the first step towards doing so. No longer moving the way they want you to move. Move the way the actual you wants you to move. It's only one actual you. Have you noticed that? Moving along. The fake universe's parable combatants, meaning the perfect cells universal combatants. First, universal evil energy, representing the Muladhara chakra. Second, universal devil's behavior, representing the Swadhisthana chakra. Third, what's wrong universally, representing the Manipura chakra. Fourth, universal insanity, representing the Anahata chakra. Fifth, universal wickedness, representing the Vishuddha chakra. Sixth, the universal principle artificial intelligence. No, it hasn't gotten to this point yet. AI hasn't, but it's trying to get there because of who's pushing it to get there and or why they are. Remember, they are trying to become the global majority. This is why they're pushing AI so hard. They are trying to become the global majority. This is why they're pushing AI so hard, which is also why I put it right here in this little spot for my explanation in such a position. You'll see why. And seventh, the artificial universal principles representing the Sahasrara chakra and or what it's invading right now currently. Let's say that. Instead of representing, let's say all of these fake ones are invading. They're invading the Muladhara, Swadhisthana, Manipura, Anahata, Vishuddha, Ajna, and Sahasrara. They're invading them. That's what the fake principles are doing. So now, this is what I read to you. Now it's time for them to fight. So, it's going to be a battle royale. They're all going to be fighting all at once. However, their opposites are going to be facing each other regardless. So, meaning in the midst of the fight, the good universal energy will be fighting the evil universal energy. They will be fighting for the control of the root Muladhara space. The good universal energy is going to win. Why? Because the evil universal energy is fake and doesn't even exist to begin with. It only takes you over if you allow it to take you over. Same thing with the good energy, obviously. You ain't even got to do what the good energy wants you to do. Because the good energy is you, trying to do what you want you to do. You can ignore that too, can't you? You can ignore anything. Keep doing it. Or weaponize it. That's what I'm doing. Y'all don't care. So I'm just going to keep taking advantage of why you don't care. Second, this is another piece that I missed out. The second fight that's going to be taking place, all is a battle royale, but they're going to be fighting their specific opposite counterparts. It's all going to be a battle royale, but they're all still going to be fighting their evil counterparts. The second fight that's going down in this tournament right now. God's universal behavior versus the devil's universal behavior. Here's a detail I missed out. Mine own 4 personal universal laws. I missed this one in the last video. I'm going to talk about it now. And I'm going to incorporate my 4 universal laws into God's universal behavior. This world's definition of God, what is it? Do you know? This world's, meaning the definition that this world put out here for it to be. The creator and ruler of the universe and source of all moral authority, the supreme being. That's 4 things, right? Take this. How did I say it was 4 things? Think about it. The creator, 1. Ruler, 2. Moral authority, 3. Supreme being, 4. 4 things, right? Now, I made up mine own personal 4 universal laws based on and or inspired by the world's definition of God. Like, for example, the creator. I call that the universal law of love. That's going to be incorporated into the God's universal behavior. The universal law of love and or the universal law of creation. That's incorporated into God's universal behavior. Love is incorporated into God's behavior universally. Love is incorporated into the universal God's behavior. Second, the ruler of the universe, right? The universal law of recompense. Give to receive. Give to receive. What kind of ruler are you over your own life or in your own life or around your own people? Do you hate your neighbor or do you love your neighbor? Are you giving hateful orders to your neighbor or are you giving loving orders to your neighbor? Law of recompense, you get back what you give. The universal law of recompensation, you get back what you give. Now, that law right there is kind of iffy because it's like, did you notice we don't really live with consequences? Did you notice that? Like the people who are pretending to be in charge of this world, they can put so much hate into it without any type of recoil. And yet we can't put any love into it without some kind of recoil. Like, for example, when you're just born and they ruin your life day one. The spirit of love gave me what it wanted. Wants being the lowest aspect of spirit. Spirit being the life-giving energy itself. Your physical body being what spirit finished giving to a thing. Spirit gave you life. Love. You gave you life. Love. Why you gotta pay for that? Why is there a consequence for us being born? Why do we have to pay for being born? Why do we have to pay to live? Moving forward here. Then you got the source of all moral authority, right? Now, that's the third one. I have my universal law of polarities tied to that one. The universal law of polarities, opposite visions, seeing the good and seeing the evil. Knowledge of goodness, knowledge of evil. That's what I have tied to that one. For God, that's incorporated into God's behavior right there. And then you have, finally, I'm running out of time. I got to say more. Then you have, finally, the Supreme Being. To the Supreme Being, I have my fourth universal law, the law of Genesis. The universal law of Genesis. You remain what you started out as. Feminism started out as the advocacy for women's rights on the basis of the equality of the sexes. Men and women cannot physically be equal. Metaphysically, of course, yeah, they can follow the same one universal law of love, the same law of right. But physically, they can't be. And feminism started to force that equality into fruition somehow, even though you just can't be different physically ever. You can't be equal physically ever, I meant to say. You can't be the same physically. You're only different physically. So that means it's just doing it for no reason, or just trying to emasculate all men. That's what feminism started out as. That kind of advocation for man's destruction. No reason. Feminism has never changed. How long has it been around? Who knows, huh? I do. But would you believe me if I told you? Then again, I don't really care. Moving along. How long has it been around? Billions of years. Third fight. What's right universally versus what's wrong universally? Did I describe the devil's behavior? Everything evil is opposite of good. So, for example, the universal law of creation, the universal law of death. The universal law of recompense, the universal law of stagnation. Because think about it, if you give something or take something, universal law of taking, what does stealing give you? Stagnation. What does stealing give you? How can you explain what a universal law of theft can be? How can you explain that? Stealing only works one way. The one individual person who decides to go take something from you. Or stagnation could be the proper way that you had it up the first time, because it's like giving and receiving. You're doing something. But if you're not doing something, stagnation, right? So wouldn't the universal law of stagnation be the opposite of the universal law of polarities? Maybe. You think about it. Third one. Wait, recompense. No, I said Genesis. No, I said love, which was creation. And then I have recompense, give and receive, ruler. Then I have morality, polarities, universal law of opposites, universal law of ignorance. Ignorance, is that even on here? It's insanity. What would be the opposite of having the knowledge of good and the knowledge of evil registered and locked into your infinite dimensional thinking mind's prowess? Wouldn't it be just straight up ignorance of knowledge, ignorance of evil and ignorance of goodness? Wouldn't it be just the ignorance then? So I guess it's all tied up together in one anyways, no matter what. They're all the same thing. I'm describing the same principle. It's one principle that's going to give you nothing but life all day. Then there's another principle that's going to give you nothing but death all day. There's one principle that's going to give you nothing but life all day. Then there's one principle that's going to give you nothing but death all day. That's all I'm saying over and over again in just thousands of different funny ways, or I'm trying to make it funny. Moving forward. That there is the devil's behavior. Then the fourth one, the universal law of supreme being, right? Universal law of Genesis. You stay what you started out as. The devil's ways were all inferior for you. Every devil's way that began for you was going to be inferior for you and detrimental and depriving and taking away everything that makes you what you are for kicks and giggles. Moving along. So that's the God's behavior versus the devil's behavior universally. What's right universally versus what's wrong universally. What's right universally? What's right? Start with the definition of the word. What's morally good, justifiable. It's all connected. It's talking about the same energy. One principle is going to give you life all day and the other principle is going to give you death all day. One principle is going to give you life all day and the other principle is going to give you death all day. That's it. Choose which one you want to stand on. Choose which one you want to operate from. I recommend you operate from the one that is naturally you. The principle that's giving you life all day, not the principle that's giving you death all day. There's one principle giving you life all day, then there's one principle giving you death all day. Real simple, my family. Stand on the one giving you life all day. Operate from that one and recognize how the death one operates and how the death one is trying to get you to stay stuck in it. You weren't born in it, but it just wants you to pretend that you are. It's death. Invasive. Always trying to impede on your life. That's what it does. Stop it. Cut its head off. Put a face on it and take it out. Moving along. What's right universally is what's morally good and justifiable universally, and what's wrong universally is what's not, what's unacceptable universally. Next one. Universal insanity versus universal knowledge. Knowledge eliminates insanity, especially omni-knowledge. Here's the kicker. Once you accept this omni-knowledge truth, your fake universe is going towards its first step of going bye-bye. The omni-knowledge is the omni-king in this parable. The omni-knowledge, the fourth one, is the omni-king in this parable. So it's going to be fighting. You got the omni-king fighting in your tournament? Technically, whatever. Fifth one. Universal righteousness versus universal wickedness. Righteousness eliminates evil. Righteousness eliminates evil. Did you notice nobody alive naturally likes evil behavior? Did you know that? I wonder what's going to be of the oppressive people when they reconnect to the sun, soul, spirit. Sun being the light, soul being the mind, spirit being the body or the physical. Because the spirit is physical. The soul is the metaphysical. The light is the source where they both come from. I wonder what's going to happen when the oppressive people with minds that I am manipulating right now currently with every word that I say, begin to reconnect with this here sun, soul, spirit, power. Are they going to eat each other alive? Ouroboros loop? Maybe. Either way, they'll be stopped, right? Sixth, the universal principle Aten Ra versus the universal principle artificial intelligence. AR versus AI. Why do I use Aten Ra? Because Aten Ra is the literal sun. Horakathy. Horus. I explained this in the previous video. I'm going to try to explain it. I'm about to run out of time. Once you accept the truth, the fake universe goes bye-bye. The omni-knowledge erases the false universe. Once you accept the omni-knowledge universes. Once you accept the omni-knowledge's universe. And from then, you will all stand on natural universal principles and no longer stand on artificial universal principles, because the natural universal principles are giving you life all day, and the artificial universal principles are giving you death all day. Stop standing on death and stand on life. Stop giving death and give life. Why is this so complicated? Because you're deciding to make it complicated. Why are you deciding to make it complicated? Because they told you to make it complicated. Just like they're telling you to kill yourselves. All of their principles are self-destruction. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Move the way God wants you to move. How is that? And peace, love, unity, and advancement to you all, my family.